if you want a great relationship, there's a beautiful concept in this book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. Most of the people don't realize that this chapter even exists there because they are mostly looking at the 7 habits. Now, if you want to have a great relationship, or if you're looking at having a great relationship, if you're having any problems, or maybe you're doing great, this is something that you need to pay attention to. It's called the emotional bank account. So how does this function? It's just like any other bank account. It will have a credit, it has a debit, and then you look at the balance that you have. So how does that function? Let's say you meet this person, or you're already in a relationship with that person. So when you meet the person, you open up an account with them. Just like you open up an account when you start a business, or maybe you want to save, or you want to, you get onto the job or something like that. So initially when you meet the person, bank account 0. It's a 0 balance account. So you open up an account with them. So when you first meet them, what is the kind of impression that you put across to them, or you bring across as a person, or you come across as a person? Let's say you're respectful, you're polite, you have gratitude for the staff, you're loving, all of those things. Now, each one of these things that you do, which is great, is going up as a credit in their account, right? You're crediting a point, you're crediting some points there. So every time you credit a point which is positive, your bank balance rises, which means it gets greater. How do you feel when you have a good bank balance? Great, right? And that's how the relationship would be. Then you go ahead and make a small mistake, whatever it may be. So what happens is, 1 point is debited from your account, which means your balance is going lower now. So let's say you have 100 points and you lose 1 point. How do you feel? Not bad, right? You still have 99 points. And that's exactly how it works in the relationship as well. You have a great relationship, you make one small mistake, and you both, it's like, okay, nobody says anything to each other. And then it goes on. But the other person doesn't realize that it was a mistake, because you're not discussed about it, you're not spoken about it. And then the person starts making the mistake over and over again, and the balance starts reducing. During this time, you'll see that the behavior of the person starts changing. I'll give you an example. Let's say there is this person, Mohit. Okay, now he's shooting the video for me right now. Mohit is working at an organization. Today is his first day. So he meets the boss, and the boss goes ahead, he takes them around in the office, and he introduces him to the team and everything, and he shows him there's the cafeteria with the smoking zone, so on and so forth. By the way, Mohit doesn't smoke. Okay, but then he goes around and he shows them. Both are having a great conversation, bank balance going up. I mean, the emotional bank account, it's all going up. People are laughing, smiling, cracking jokes, giving a high five. You've been invited, great party stuff. Great. So Mohit is new. He's very motivated. So he's going ahead doing work and all of those things. His boss is happy. He's going ahead and telling them, you're doing a great job. The relationship is fantastic. After a few days, what happens is the boss's behavior changes. So Mohit realizes that after a few days that he's not been given important work to do, or he's not been given important tasks. His boss is not smiling at him, or possibly not giving him the kind of treatment that he used to get initially when he joined. So Mohit is a little concerned, and he needs to be, right? So what Mohit does is, he calls a friend from his team, and he says his friend's name is Suhas. Not me, by the way. Okay. So his friend's name is Suhas. So he says, Suhas, chal thoda coffee pee ke aate hain. He takes him outside, has a cup of coffee, and baaton mein, he speaks to him, and he goes ahead and asks him, ये आजकल हरीश का कुछ अलग चल रहा है क्या? थोड़ा गुस्से में रहता है, मेरी तरफ तो ऐसे करता है. He says, no, he's been okay with me. कि तेरे साथ कुछ हुआ क्या? And Mohit says, नहीं ऐसा तो नहीं है, लेकिन थोड़ा मुझे लगा, इसके लिए पूछा मैंने, तेरे साथ कैसा है? And he says, no, he's okay with me, he's fine, he's fantastic. I mean, he's never been better before. So, wow. So both of them go back now. Mohit is thinking, इसके साथ में सही है, मेरे साथ में ऐसा हो रहा है. So he's still not convinced. So what he does is, the next day he'll take another colleague of his out for coffee. Okay, let's call her Shraddha. So he takes her out. And they have a cup of coffee. Then he asks her again, so how's everything with Harish, right? How's he behaving? All of that. She says, why are you asking? He's never been better. He's like amazing. तेरे साथ कुछ हुआ है क्या? And Mohit doesn't want to share that, right? So he says, नहीं ऐसा कुछ नहीं, ऐसे ही पूछा, 1-2 दिन से थोड़ा मुझे ऐसा लग रहा था कि चिड़ा सा लग रहा है. So she says, no, he's fine. Okay, fantastic. Now what Mohit is thinking is, he's good with this person, he's good with that person, he's good with every other team person, or the team member, but he's not okay with me, which means he's got a grudge on me. Now this is an important point. Now this is where Mohit should be going and talking to Harish and asking him, what has happened? You had a great relationship with him or with me, and then this has changed and it has come to this point. What went wrong? If you let me know, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make sure that we get this at the top and make sure that our relationship becomes better again. But Mohit will not do that. Why? Ego. अगर उसको प्रॉब्लम है तो वो आएगा मेरे पास में, मैं नहीं जाऊंगा. This is what most of the people do. And the same thing Harish is also doing. He is thinking कि if he has a problem and he doesn't understand it, I am the boss, he has to come to me. Now both are wrong here. But the point is, if you look at it, the emotional balance, that is the bank account that we're talking about, emotional bank account, both of their balances have come to a point where it is approximately, let's say, very less or come to zero. And then Mohit makes a small mistake. And then Harish takes him to the cabin and blows steam. Now you know what that happens. What happens there, right? And then Mohit is also not sitting quietly. Now Mohit says, अगर इतना ही problem था इस चीज से तो मुझे पहले क्यों नहीं बताया? Why didn't you tell me earlier? And Harish is saying, you know that it's a problem. Why didn't you come to me and check with me? Now the whole point that I'm trying to draw over here is, either of them could have gone and made sure that they would have had a decent conversation, that have sat there, taken 100% responsibility for themselves, saying that I have a problem, okay, which is our relationship was great when we started off, and now I can see that you're ignoring me and I'm not getting the important tasks and things like that. Now, if you let me know what I have done to make sure that I set it right and have a great relationship and start working together again and get great results, now that would be it. And Harish would be more than happy to tell him. And the same thing Harish could have done. He could have gone there and said, see, this is something that you've been doing over and over again, and that's not right. This is what I expect from you. And if you do that, I think we'll be fine. So it could have been resolved from any which ends, but it doesn't happen. Now it has come to a point wherein all steam is blowing, both ends, nobody's taking responsibility. What do you think would happen to the relationship? Down the drain. The same thing, this is a corporate example that I gave you, but the same thing happens to you at relationships, at home, your friends, maybe your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it is. But then in every relationship, if you see and if you're aware in the moment, if you see small changes that are happening, sit and make sure that you talk it out and understand what's going right and what's going wrong. If you know that something is going right, if you keep doing that, you'll start seeing that your bank balance will go higher, that is your emotional bank account, and your relationship becomes better. But if you keep doing the wrong things, if you notice that there are certain things that are going wrong, and if you just don't focus on them and ignore them, you'll start seeing that your relationship will go bad. And that is when you one day get into a breakup and you say, पता नहीं यार क्या हो गया, आज एकदम से भड़क गई और भड़क गया और फिर breakup हो गया. It is not अचानक से हुआ है or suddenly happened. It has been happening over a period of time. You have ignored it. That's the reason I say it's a very important concept. And if you understand this correctly, your relationship is going to be great. Otherwise, it's going to go down the drain. So be aware of these things, see where you're scoring points, see where you're losing points, and make sure that whenever these things happen, sit and have a conversation and resolve it then and there. That is important. So if you understood this, I know that you'll have a great relationship. Make sure that you do that. Take this seriously and take some action as of now to make sure that you make your relationship better. Happy living.